Hello, everybody. My name is Chef Eric Merkline. This is Chef Brian Arliss. I work at Danforth Dining Hall. Brian works at Douglas Dining Hall. In lieu of BBQuad's cancellation this year, we decided to shoot a little video instead, and today we are going to talk a little bit about how to make pizza. It's something I'm very passionate about. I've done a lot of professional experience working with pizza in different restaurants, and here I'm going to show you a couple different things. First, we're going to start with how to make pizza dough. While this is a great thing to do, it is not necessarily something that you have to do. You could always go to your local pizza shop and talk to them and get some fresh dough from them, or maybe go to your local grocery store like Whole Foods or Wegmans, and they have fresh-made pizza dough as well. Some of the techniques that I show while we're actually forming the dough, you can use with the bought dough as well. So first things first, I have 1.5 quarts of warm water in this mixer, along with 2 tablespoons of salt and 1/4 ounce of yeast, dried active yeast. I'm going to start this on our first setting, or just our stir setting. We're going to let this go for about a minute, maybe a little bit less, just to make sure that all of the yeast and ingredients are incorporated. Now that it is mixed, we're going to add half of our flour. Do this slowly, as you don't want it to spill everywhere on you, and you also want your dough to be nice and smooth. If you add it all in at once, your dough will end up being clumpy. And clumpy pizza dough is not something that anybody wants. Start moving a little bit faster here, now that our dough is incorporating. Don't worry about making a mess. Pizza is a messy business. All right, so now I have the first addition of flour in. We're going to raise our speed by 1, and we're going to let this go for about 3 minutes to let the flour and the water fully incorporate. All right, guys, 3 or 4 minutes have gone by. Now we are going to add about 1/4 cup of oil, olive oil, good olive oil, the best you can get. The flavor in this is going to be really nice with our pizza dough. It's also going to help it crust up a little bit. After we've added our oil in, the next thing we're going to do is add in our second addition of flour. Again, add this in slowly. We talked about wanting our pizza dough to be smooth and not clumpy. The first addition of flour has also given the yeast a little bit of food to eat, and so it has already started activating. I'm going to add this in a little bit faster now. Perfect. All right, we have all of our flour incorporated into our bowl. We are now going to let this go on our second speed for about 4 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer, until the dough has formed a tight ball and has gotten around the hook that I've used in this mixer. I already have 2 doughs formed and prepared right here. This is what our dough should look like when we get it out. It's going to be nice and stretchy. The gluten is all stretched out, and this is going to make a really great pizza. As Brian just showed, a little bit of flour, all-purpose flour on your surface. I'm going to get a little bit more flour, and we're going to go a little bit on the top here. First thing I do is I just take the palm of my hand and push down lightly. We don't want to push all of the air out of the dough. That air is what's going to help the dough, the crust rise when we start forming it. What I forgot to mention is that after this dough you remove it from the mixer, you are going to portion it out into about 9 to 10 ounces, and then you're going to form each one of those portions into a ball. The way you do that is you have your dough on your surface, cup your hands on the side, and you're just going to work it around in a circle like this until it eventually forms a nice little ball like that. So, to make our dough, or our pizza skin, as we would say, push down a little bit so it forms a little disc, and then we're going to use the tips of our fingers, and we're just going to push the air or the fermented gas to the outer edges of the skin. You don't want to push too hard because you don't want to release that air or that gas from this. We want to push it out because that's where the crust is going to form. It's not going to be very large. It's going to look a little bit like this, a little bit wider of a disc. Now, there's a few different options you have for forming your skin at this point. One, you can use the more Neapolitan slap method, which would be to put your hand in the center, pull, push it onto your palm like that, and then flip it over. And you continue to do this until you get a nice little disc. It will look a little bit deformed at first, but if you do this, and if you get really fast at it, you'll get a nice little pizza. So you can see how it's stretched out a little bit. I'm taking those gluten strands and I'm stretching them. The other way you could do it is put it onto the back of your hand, onto your knuckles, just like this, and move it and slightly stretch it. This is my preferred method, mostly because I'm just better at it than the other way. You can also throw it in the air like you've seen in TV or movies or maybe even in real life. That accomplishes the same thing as the slap method. You're using the dough's natural weight and shape to form the pizza skin so you're not getting too many thin spots in the pizza itself. This can be whatever size you want as well. You could go small individual pizzas, or you could do something larger if you wanted to serve your entire family. After a minute or so, we've got a nice little personal pizza here. This is hand formed, so it's not going to be exactly perfect, even though I would like it to be, but it doesn't have to be. Next, you can start with, get your pizza sauce. This is a pizza sauce we make. We use fresh tomatoes, a little bit of vinegar, salt, pepper, oregano, oil, a tiny bit of water, and it creates a really great pizza sauce. You could also use whatever brand you would prefer at your local store, or you could also just take some really high quality whole tomatoes in a can, puree them with a little bit of salt. About 1 small spoon of pizza sauce right into the center. Take a spoon and just move it in a circle. You want to get about a finger's width on your dough, and that's going to be kind of where your sauce ends. Not too much, because you don't want it to be too saucy. You also want to make sure your sauce you don't want it to pool in the center. When pizzas cook, everything starts to go towards the center. So if you have it all pooled in here, you're going to have nothing on the outside. You want to try to keep some of your sauce and toppings around the outside. Got some really nice fresh mozzarella here. I prefer to use that over shredded. Few pieces. You can do as much or as little cheese as you want, really, on this. We're going to take some nice fresh basil as well that I've got right here. And I would just tear these in half. Take some of the natural oils out of them so you get a little bit more flavor. And then this can actually get moved right onto your pizza skin like that. If your pizza shrinks when you're making it after you get it onto your peel or when you're about to put it into your into your oven, you can just take your fingers and just stretch it a little bit like this and it will come right out. Brian's going to put this in the oven, and we're going to show you what a little bit of the finished product looks like. As Brian's showing you right now, we've got a great-looking traditional margherita pizza, which is my personal favorite. Great fresh mozzarella, house-made pizza sauce, house-made pizza dough, as well as the fresh basil on top. This, to me, is the ultimate pizza.